Igbo leaders met with President Buhari a few days ago, and the main subject of discussion was the need to find a political solution to the continued trial of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. And the president said, well, he will look into the request. But in any case, he would not want to interfere with the judiciary or violate the principle of separation of power. But can the president take a decision within the purview of Section 174 by directing the Attorney General of the Federation to enter a nolle prosequi?
Well, thank you very much. You will recall that a couple of weeks back, the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, did indicate that the cases of Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Adeyemo
Sunday
Igboho might be resolved politically. In the case of Kanu, frankly speaking, the charges can hardly be proved. One of the kinds is sedition. Sedition was pronounced illegal and unconstitutional in 1983 in the case of Otto Nwankwo and the state. So I don't know, I can't see how some of those charges will stand in law. So the choice before the government is to have this matter resolved politically. In the case of Sunday Igboho, the government has not filed a request in the Benin court for his extradition. So I believe the government is also taking its time to resolve this matter politically. More so that the High Court in Oyo State has said that organizing rallies to demand for demand for self-determination is not illegal under our law. So I believe the government has no choice but to resolve these matters politically. Also, that the IPOB could be said to have extended the only branch to the government with respect to the gubernatorial election just concluded in Anambra State. If IPOB had not suspended hostilities in that state, there's no way you could have had the election. So I believe the government has taken cognizance of all the facts and circumstances of these cases and has therefore resolved to handle them politically. With respect to Section 174, the Attorney General does not need to take instructions from the President having regard to the state of the law. The Constitution has empowered him to discontinue any case at any state in the public interest. And this case suggests that the government has to intervene. If the Attorney General does not even exercise his powers, the President can, under Section 175 of the Constitution, grant amnesty. And that has happened before. I defended Henry Oka, who was charged. I think it was a 62-count charge. We raised a plenary objection against 59 of the 62-count charge. We won. The remaining 3, we also raised an objection. It was at that stage that the late President Umaru Yar'Adua asked for political resolution. And so that was how we resolved that case. And the guy, Henry Oka, was quite influential among the militants. So he was the one that went from one camp to the other to preach peace. And that was how the Niger Delta militants decided to give peace a chance. I believe if the same approach is adopted by the government this time, we also can have the restoration of law and order in the southeast, in the southwest. But the government must be ready to engage and look at the circumstances that led these young people to declare a war against the neo-colonial state.
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally broken his silence on demands in some quarters for unconditional release of the prescribed IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, currently standing trial, saying doing so runs contrary to the doctrine of separation of powers between the executive and the judiciary. This was while receiving a group under the auspices of highly respected Igbo greats, led by the First Republic parliamentarian and Minister of Aviation, Chief Mbazulike Amechi. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The 93-year-old statesman, Chief Mbazulike Amechi, had described the situation in the southeast as painful and pathetic, lamenting that businesses have collapsed, education is crumbling, and there is fear everywhere. During the closed-door engagement, Chief Amechi pleaded for a political rather than military solution, requesting that if Nnamdi Kanu is released to him as the only First Republic minister still alive, he would no longer say the things he had been saying, stressing that he could control him. The Nigerian said twice he had interfaced with Nnamdi Kanu in the past, and the latter rescinded orders earlier given on civil disobedience. He concluded that he doesn't want to leave this planet without peace, returning to his country, maintaining that he believes in one big, united Nigeria, efforts in Africa. Chief Amechi told President Buhari that he wants him to be remembered as a person who saw Nigeria burning and quenched the fire. President Muhammadu Buhari told his guests that they have made an extremely difficult demand on him as leader of the country. The implication of their request, he said, is very serious. The president takes pride in the fact that since coming to power in the last 6 years, nobody would say he had confronted or interfered in the work of the judiciary. He told the leader of the highly respected Igbo greats that God has not only spared and given him a clear head at this age, but also very sharp memory, saying a lot of people half his age are confused already. The demand made, President Buhari said, is heavy, concluding, however, that he would consider it. The president said when Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail, got arrested, and brought back to the country, his position remains he be subjected to the system to make his case in court instead of giving very negative impressions of the country from outside. The president feels it's even a favor to give him that opportunity. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.